Bernie Sanders, your candidate for United States Senate, Catherine Cortez Masto.
Welcome. Aren't we excited? Are we ready to put Hillary in the White House? I don't think... and that's right. The other thing we need to do is to make sure that she has a United States Senate she can work with, right? And this seat here in Nevada is the pathway for the Democrats to take back that majority in the Senate. A majority that's going to decide for decades to come who sits on the United States Supreme Court. A majority that's going to work with Hillary Clinton to pass comprehensive immigration reform, right? Listen, I don't have to tell all of you, we've come through some tough times here in Nevada. We had the worst foreclosure crisis, we had people exploiting our kids, but we fought against it. And now it's time to bring that fight to Washington. Because we need to start solving problems. And we need people that are going to work together to do just that, because I don't have to tell all of you, we want an economy that works for everyone. That means raising that minimum wage, right? How about this? Equal pay for equal work. And how about we graduate kids from the CSN in any college or community or university across this country that don't have to worry about exorbitant debt? I don't know about you, but I don't think you should have to mortgage your future just to get a college education, right? And listen, we are an incredible country right now where we should be free to love whom we want to love. We can live where we want to live, work where we want to work, and it's time to fight for that equality because there are people that want to take it away from us. And that's what's at stake in this election. That is important for us to really focus on our families, our future, and what's at stake. Listen, I am a climate change believer. You only have to look at the science and live in a western state like Nevada, see the bathtub ring around Lake Mead, look at all the wildfires. We have to protect our environment for that future. And we have to fight against those people who don't want it. I'm running against an opponent. He's a 3-term congressman who is a climate change denier, Congressman Heck. For 9 months, he had high hopes that Donald Trump would be our next president. When Donald Trump was attacking POWs and Gold Star families, he had no problem with Donald Trump having his finger on the nuclear button. And when Donald Trump came into Nevada and started attacking Mexicans, calling them rapists and criminals and wanting to build walls and ban Muslims and making fun of the disabled and denigrating women, and now we know why, because he thinks he can sexually assault them, my opponent had high hopes that he would be the next president of the United States. And the only time my opponent tried to distance himself is when he saw that Donald Trump's ship was sinking. And like a rat, he was scurrying to get off of it. I'll tell you what, I don't know about you, but I don't think Congressman Heck gets credit for trying to unendorse Trump and then trying to jump back on Donald Trump's ship. This is about the future of our country and where we think it should go. It is time for us to start fighting. It is time for us to start fighting for our families, for our future, for our kids, for our jobs, what we believe is important. Because if we don't take the stand right now, we are going to lose this country to people who are going to tear it apart. People who are going to give big tax corporate breaks to corporations who ship jobs overseas. We don't want that. My opponent and Donald Trump would rather give unnecessary subsidies to big oil instead of investing in green technology right here in this state. Listen, look at this. We are primed in Nevada to lead the country in solar, in green technology, create jobs, and address climate change. And listen, here's something that I don't know about you, but I think we can all agree. I am tired of politicians in Washington telling women what they should or shouldn't do with their bodies and their health care decisions. Right. There is so much at stake, and that's why we need to elect people in Congress, in the White House, are going to continue to fight for us. We know Hillary's going to do that. And we know we need to give her a United States Senate that she can work with. And we need to put people in Congress that she can work with as well, like Ruben Kihuen, right? Like Jackie Rosen. And send Dina Titus back so we can ensure we're continuing to fight. But there is another person that you and I know very well. And I would love the opportunity to work with him in the United States Senate. He has been a fighter, highlighting the difference between big corporations who take money out of our country and take jobs away from us, and working families who are still struggling. He's a fighter for those families. He's a fighter for the environment. He's a fighter for all of you here, our students across this country, who need the future that they can believe in and an opportunity to achieve it. I am so honored that he is here today. I'm honored to call him a friend, and I'll tell you what, with your help, right, you're gonna help me get to the United States Senate so we can make a difference and we can work with him. And now, let me introduce to you my good friend, Senator Bernie Sanders.
Well, thank you. See, I come from Vermont. We're not used to this sunshine. Well, thank you all very much for coming out. The reason, well, I love you too. And I'll love you even more if you bring out your friends on Tuesday and we win this election. I'm here for a few reasons. Number one, on Tuesday, we're going to have one of the most consequential elections in the modern history of this country. And I have been running all around this country, from Maine to New Hampshire to the Midwest to the West Coast, to do everything that I can to make certain that Donald Trump is not elected president of the United States, and that Hillary Clinton is elected president. And I'm also here because Nevada needs a senator who is going to stand up for working people, and that is Cortez Masto. Now, it just so happens, and you know, we have a weird electoral system in this country, a weird way to elect the president. It really is, and sometime I think we got to think about it, but it turns out that there are about 12, 13 states in this country who are going to determine who the next president of the United States is. And guess what? Nevada is one of those states. So you have an awesome responsibility in the next 2 days to do everything you can. Do everything you can to create the highest voter turnout in Nevada history. Hillary Clinton and Catherine will win if the voter turnout is high. They will lose if it's low. Your job is give us the highest turnout we have ever seen. Now, Catherine mentioned that it's not only important that Nevada have a senator who will fight for working people, but it also just happens that the Senate, control of the United States Senate, is up for grabs. Either the Republicans will retain control by 1 vote, 2 votes, or the Democrats will. And again, the vote here, whether Catherine gets elected or not, is not only important for the people of this great state, it is important for the United States Senate. It is important for the future of America. And I want to thank the Culinary Workers Union and all of the other groups that have been working so hard to bring people out in early voting. We got to continue that effort onto Election Day. Now, this election is about many, many things, but I want to begin by focusing on one. And I speak as somebody who is the son of an immigrant. I'm a first-generation American. My dad came to this country from Poland at the age of 17 without a nickel in his pocket. He couldn't speak English, and he never made any money. We grew up in a low-income home. But he was so proud of being an American because it gave him opportunities for his kids that he never in a million years would have had if he had stayed where he came from. So I know a little bit about the immigrant experience. And when I think about all of the issues facing this country, there's one that strikes me perhaps more deeply than others. And that is, I think about the history of our country. And I think about the levels of racism and discrimination that good people for hundreds of years have been combating. I think about the way we treated Native Americans when the first settlers came here and are still treating them disgracefully. I think about the abomination of slavery, denying people their dignity, denying people their right to vote. And then I think that just 100 years ago today, 100 years ago today, women in America did not even have the right to vote. Women could not, they weren't running for president. They couldn't vote. They couldn't go to schools they wanted to go and get the education they wanted. They couldn't do the work they wanted. But millions of women and their male allies came together and fought back and said that in America, women will not be second-class citizens. So I'm thinking back about the struggle that went on for decades within the gay community so that Americans understood that people in this country have the right to love whoever they want, get married to whoever they want. And God only knows that all kinds of discrimination still exist. We know that. But we should be proud as a nation that we have come a long way in the fight against racism, against sexism, against homophobia. That for hundreds of years we've had people who were discriminated against because of the color of their skin, the country they came from. Whether they were Latinos, whether they were Italians, whether they're Irish, whether they're Jewish, whether they're Asian Americans, all had to deal with discrimination. And we should be proud that we've made progress in living up to what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. reminded us, that we should judge people not by the color of their skin or where they come from, but by their character, who they are as human beings. Now, we all know that sexism, racism, homophobia, etc. still exist, but we should be proud of where we have come. And what this campaign is really about is that we have a Republican candidate for president, unbelievably, in the year 2016, who has made bigotry the cornerstone of his campaign. We are not going to elect Trump to be president. We cannot have a president who, before he was running, before he was a candidate, some of you will remember that Trump was the leader of the so-called birther movement. Do you all know what the birther movement was? What the birther movement was a racist effort to undermine the legitimacy of the first African-American president in our history. That's Donald Trump. We are not going to have a president who refers to our Mexican brothers and sisters as rapists and criminals. We are not going to have as a president somebody who insults women seemingly every day and who brags about assaulting women. That is not the candidate we are going to elect as president of the United States. In these difficult times, we need a president who is going to bring us together, not divide us up. And that president is Hillary Clinton.